This 39 Dunedin News Bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on 39 Dunedin News, a safety message from firefighters after a South Dunedin home is gutted. Critical information sharing is the key to saving local knowledge. And the DCC is developing new regulations for drone operators as they fill our skies. Good evening, you. I'm Craig Story. 4 South Dunedin residents are homeless after a fire gutted 2 flats in the middle of the night. It is believed a heater was the cause and there were no working smoke alarms in either home. And that's prompting another safety message from firefighters.
The charred remains of 2 South Dunedin flats inside what was a historic Cutton Street townhouse. 4 fire crews attended to the blaze just before 1 a.m. It's believed the occupants used a fan heater to warm up bedding, and they've lost everything as a result.
The house has been totally gutted, and in fact the structural integrity of the place has been challenged, and it will be, I would imagine, demolished.
No one was injured in the fire, all 4 occupants escaping into the street. Fire safety investigators are completing their assessment of the property, making sure there's no way the remains can flare up.
Very windy last night, very windy conditions, so that assisted in the fire being ventilated and blown right through the house.
Voigt says this case raises several safety issues. Heaters shouldn't be placed anywhere near bedding or other household items. Working smoke alarms should be installed, and if fires occur, people should try to contain them if it's safe to do so.
Doesn't sound like any doors were shut on the way out. Always a good idea to, if you have a fire in your house, to shut the doors if it's safe to do so, and that will save some of the property.
He's pleased with how the 16-odd firefighters worked to control the blaze, considering the windy conditions and threats to nearby properties, and hopes all Dunedin residents take stock to protect themselves.
Smoke alarms save lives, yes, definitely. They're the nose that works for you when your nose isn't working, and they'll give you early detection and let you know to get out of the house.
A small cost for a priceless saving. Rosie Mannins, 39 Dunedin News.
A new freedom camping bylaw is being developed before summer, with a hearing set to take place later this month. The City Council is using public feedback to shape new rules for camping, with 50 submissions received on the issue. A 2-year trial of freedom camping at McAndrew Bay, Ocean View Reserve and Warrington upset many residents. Campers were accused of overcrowding reserves, misusing amenities and dumping rubbish. The McAndrew Bay trial was particularly unpopular among residents. The Council's new bylaw is intended to restrict camping so public areas are protected along with access. It's also to ensure the health and safety of people visiting camping areas. A database of social services is being developed so local knowledge isn't lost. Staff with more than a dozen agencies have met to share information and address concerns within the sector, and the benefits are filtering down to the general public.
A wide range of social services call Dunedin home, with staff rallying behind countless causes. Some give general advice to the public, and others provide specifics, from counselling to residential care. Rob Thompson from the Dunedin Collaboration Against Family Violence says community workers build up masses of knowledge, and he wants that information to stick around, even when people move on.
And often those interagency connections and interpersonal connections can take quite some time to develop. So the idea is that having a hui like this, and we've had several of them, people can quickly develop connections.
About 80 people from various agencies have been involved in this hui, making short presentations about their organisations and how to connect with staff. And in organising the event, Thompson's even learned about some new groups himself.
You don't know the agencies that you don't know, and it's not until you've got a client perhaps with a head injury that you don't know much about head injuries, that you don't know that there's, for example, the Brain Injury Support Trust.
He says spreading knowledge about the city's social agencies allows workers to do their jobs better. That ensures this hui's a win for average Dunedin residents, and the knowledge gleaned here will be put to good use in an online database.
On our familiesfreefromviolence.org.nz website, we're going to be placing all of the PowerPoint presentations, and there's links to many different services in our community.
Thompson's happy with the response to this meeting, the second of its kind in recent weeks. He says more will be held to keep building connections and ensure social services help as many people as possible. David DeLorean, 39, Dunedin News.
Local schools have been given government funding to expand Asian language programs. MP Michael Woodhouse says 4 Dunedin schools have been allocated funding to provide more Asian language classes. The money has come from the government's $10 million Asian Language Learning in Schools Fund, and schools receiving money are Logan Park High School, Kaikoura Valley College, Otago Girls and Balmacewen Intermediate. It is not clear at this stage how much funding each school has been allocated. The City Council is developing a new process to deal with people wanting to fly drones in public. Council staff are seeing an influx of requests from residents seeking permission to fly drones under new regulations, and the process has enthusiasts scratching their heads.
Dunedin's drone and model aircraft scene is thriving. Membership's booming at the city's main club as enthusiasts take to the skies. But new rules from the Civil Aviation Authority are making the hobby tough, says local model aircraft shop owner Juan Gaspar.
The confusion's obviously the biggest problem. Obviously the rules are quite long and quite specific for those wanting to actually make a commercial enterprise out of drone flying, camera work.
New rules mean commercial drone operators need permission from the Civil Aviation Authority to fly, and hobbyists need approval from landowners. So council staff are getting regular requests from residents wanting to fly drones in public, and the process is leaving many perplexed.
We're getting inundated with calls and people asking us where they stand now with their model aircraft. There's a lot of people that have them in this town, mainly small ones, and a lot of people that just want to fly with their kids.
The council's responding to requests on a case-by-case basis, and staff hope a standard permission process will provide consistency. Gaspar's keen to see blanket approval for public spaces granted, and he urges drone and model aircraft users to apply common sense and stick to the fundamental rules of flying.
It's still don't fly over people, don't fly at night time, don't fly over 400 feet, don't fly within 4 k's of an airport, and simple stuff, really basic stuff.
It's not known when the council's streamlined process will be finalised, but Gaspar says the DCC's already proving helpful when getting permissions, as local hobbyists come to grips with new rules. David DeLorean, 39, Dunedin News.
So cool. Still to come on 39 Dunedin News, food prices are up. So which foods were the most expensive? And French speakers unite.
Tune into Girls Talk on Dunedin Television, where we show you what's hot in Dunedin.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell menswear, it fits.
Active Furnishers Limited, home of quality service with superior product and an in-house design team who are always happy to advise and create an imaginative solution for you. Active Furnishers Limited, part of Dunedin's design history. Discover New Zealand's most innovative museum, Toitu Otago Settlers Museum. 14 stunning galleries, 3 distinct architectural styles, and 1 million intriguing stories are yours to discover at Toitu Otago Settlers Museum. Open daily next to Dunedin Railway Station and with free admission. Toitu Otago Settlers Museum.
I understand now how economics can affect global warming.
And I've found out how grass growth in New Zealand affects Fashion Week in Milan.
I can even tell you how smartphone technology affects the survival of mountain gorillas.
Sorry.
Because at the Otago Business School, it's not just about the world of business, it's how business affects the world.
I'm Kim. Michaela.
David. And this is our place in the world.
Take your place in the world.
Hedges are something we almost take for granted. A good hedge needs regular maintenance to look its best and to add value and character to your property. For all your hedge care needs, call the team at SGC Services on 0800 783 453.
Sweet dreams. Sweet dreams.
Wake up time and another frantic day ahead for Haraway's Oat Singles. With 3 delicious flavours in each pack, they don't last long with this family. They're so convenient and tasty, and they're ready in seconds. Haraway's Oat Singles are the ideal breakfast or snack on the run for today's busy families. And there's a flavour to suit everyone. Beat the rush and make sure you get your favourite flavour. Haraway's Oat Singles. Try new Kiwi Favourites Caramel Variety Pack.
A lifestyler to me is a person maybe wanting to escape the hustle and bustle of a big city, wanting some animals, maybe able to grow their own veggies, have chickens, get their own hens. A lifestyle block can be your supermarket, just a good way of living, and a lot of people enjoy that rather than being in a city, a very sustainable way to live.
And welcome back. Oh dear, food prices are up 1.2% for the year to July. Now that follows an overall decrease in the previous year. Statistics New Zealand reports that fruit and vegetable prices are leading the overall price increase. And fruit prices were up almost 8%, with avocados and grapes particularly expensive. Smaller increases were recorded for meat, poultry and fish, with beef products up 7%. The extra increase was partly offset by 1.5% drop in the cost of general grocery items. And on that note, let's take a look at today's financial reports. Down across all of the markets that we observed, the NZSX falling 41, 24 in the ASX, and sixth day in a row in the Nikkei. It has fallen 84 points, 3 down on the FTSE, a small rise in the Dow Jones after certain announcements for employment. And down across all of the currencies that we observed, no market falls apart from the yen dropping 0.47. And about 60 high school pupils from around Otago are gathering in Dunedin for a French speech competition. It's a yearly initiative organised by the local branch of the French Alliance, and President David Moyer joins us to talk about this. David, thank you so very much for coming into the studio.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
What is the aim of this event, gathering French speakers in one place?
The aim of this event is to encourage them in their speaking and learning, to help them to an outlet to use their language, and for some of them it's a step along the way to going on to tertiary study as well.
So this event has been running for 50 years?
About 50 years, I would think. So before my time in Dunedin, I know that.
So there'll be plenty of viewers having some knowledge of this event.
But I competed in Auckland about 60 years ago, so it's been around.
That's right. So the pupils who come together, what do they have to do?
Right, the pupils in year 9 and 10 have to make a brief presentation about themselves. Years 11 and 12 have a conversation with a French speaker based around the kind of syllabus they're following at school. And year 13s, on the spot, prepare a presentation in 5 minutes, present it, and get an interview about it afterwards.
Yes,
so it's testing for them.
Significant pressure for them because this is
It is.
outside of the box of what's learnt at school.
Yes, yes. Although it's based on what they learn at school.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's outside of the demarcation.
Yeah, that's right.
So this is a
That's
very
right.
real world situation.
It is, actually, because many of them are encountering a native French speaker for the first time.
What would a pupil benefit from learning another language?
Well, I think that one of the things it does for them is broadens their view, their outlook on the world. It helps them to get away from the notion that everyone speaks English. It can also heighten their awareness of learning in English, too. Another language, you look in a different way, and sometimes helps students to look at English in a different way as well. Yeah.
Because English is a casserole language as well.
It is, for sure. Yes, yes.
The general level of French speaking amongst around Otago is of a high standard.
Well, it varies. There are a good number of native French speakers around. There are families here in Dunedin. There are quite a number of students studying for master's degrees, particularly at the university. There are French-speaking researchers at the university. So yes, there is quite a colony of people who speak French. Plus, there are English-speaking people who do speak French at a high level.
So, apart from this particular event, how else do you promote the French language and the French culture?
Okay, we do run events which we celebrate the 14th of July, and we try and make that widely known so people can come and join us. We have French breakfasts and pancake evenings, French crepe pancake evenings. We offer a couple of prizes to the University French Department. And one major thing we're doing, that started last year and are doing this year, is to run what we call Café Scientifique, where we invite a French researcher to come along and present his research in English, because we know we're going to perhaps attract people who aren't particularly French speakers. And so we think that's a good way of acknowledging French culture, of making people aware of what's going on.
David Moore, I could speak for ages, but certainly not in French. Thank you so very much for coming along, sir.
That's a pleasure. Thank you for the time.
After the break on 39 Dunedin News, music, dance, mothers and babies come together for a healthy outcome and prepare you for the weather.
Sir Bob Charles, New Zealand's greatest golfer and still going strong.
I'm sure that Sportsville was a contributing factor to my success, and I'll continue to use it.
Sir Bob Charles Sportsville, a product so good he puts his name to it.
Well, I believe Sportsville helps maintain your quality of life.
Now being used by active men and women globally to support strength and mobility.
It works for me.
Sir Bob Charles Sportsville in the new all-black pack. Call now for the Sportsville special, 0800 502 402.
Big Orange for all your movies, records, books and games. Pre-loved needs and vinyl records, 45s, DVDs. A South Dunedin family-owned business for over 15 years. Check us out on Facebook, opposite Westpac on the sunny side of King Edward Street.
Moving around the corner, overseas, Best Removals Otago Limited, specialists in household removals and business relocations, as well as packing materials, secure storage. Best Removals can do it all. 0800 266 834.
128 tracks, dynamic automation, dual faders, and totally digital. This is state-of-the-art music production. The SSL Digital Console. You'll find one in the BBC studios in London, another at CBS Studios in New York, and now one at the University of Otago. It's a good reason why our sound now sounds even better. My name is Maddie Parkins Craig, and this is my place in the world.
Take your place in the world.
Active Furnishers Limited, home of quality service with superior product, and an in-house design team who are always happy to advise and create an imaginative solution for you. Active Furnishers Limited, part of Dunedin's design history.
For 30 years, Southern Clams have harvested New Zealand littleneck clams in the coastal waters of Otago. Hand harvesting to order at the right place and time ensures perfection of every clam you eat. New Zealand littleneck clams, harvested for you by Southern Clams.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Pregnant? Need to talk? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Pregnancy counselling services are here to help. It's free, it's confidential. Call us now on 0800 773 462.
Here's something else to look forward to sinking your teeth into every weekend with the Otago Daily Times, the Weekend Mix, your guide to what's hot in fashion, entertainment, food and more. New weekend magazine in your ODT. Pick up your copy this Saturday.
Oh, lifestyler can be anybody. We look at a lifestyler as someone who perhaps has been a farmer and is retiring into a smaller block. It could be someone who's working here in Dunedin and has a few acres at home. Could be mum and the kids with the pony on an acre. You know, it's anyone that's got a little bit of land rather than just the quarter-acre section.
Welcome back. The effects of music and dance are being studied by a university fellow who's combining her medical career and passion for movement. The Nigerian-born nurse is in Dunedin for 6 months, working with mothers and babies, and she's helping locals to loosen up for their own benefit.
Releasing endorphins through dance. This workshop is one of the projects being undertaken by this year's Carolyn Plumer Dance Fellow. As a trained nurse, Uzo Nwampa is drawing on her medical knowledge as well as her passion for dance. And her main project in Dunedin is inspired by her work supporting new mothers in the US.
In that role, we sort of have to dive right into the medical aspect of things, but because I have a love and passion for dance, I thought it would be nice to incorporate that into nursing. And so I was able to do some of that in the US and wrote in an application to come and do it here, you know.
She says the 6-month fellowship is already flying by. And while she's happily busy with a series of free community dance classes, her work with mums and babies is set to take up most of her remaining time.
The major project is looking at the effect music and dance has on women and families who've just had a baby in the postpartum phase, specifically addressing postpartum mood disorders. Anxiety and depression seem to be the most common ones.
She says it's a privilege to encourage people of all ages to get moving, facilitating a series of African-inspired workshops aimed at helping participants feel happier.
We release endorphins, and so those feel-good hormones can actually shift and change brain chemistry. So in my opinion, music and dance is one of the better ways to self-heal.
Nwampa's noticed a reluctance by Kiwis to fully commit to dance as a result of feeling self-conscious. She's learning as she goes with just 2 weeks of workshops under her belt, and is looking forward to seeing progress later in the year when the fellowship has a 10-year reunion. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
A local study shows many people who complete defensive driving courses end up committing traffic offences. Researchers say those courses shouldn't result in time discounts for full driver's licences. So, this week, 39 Dunedin News online poll asked, do defensive driving courses make better drivers? And 80% of you responded in the positive. Measly 20% said no. And now, concerned St Clair residents are urging the City Council to undertake immediate work to prevent further beach erosion. They say sand dunes are receding at an alarming rate, threatening nearby properties. So next week's 39 Dunedin News online poll asks, should more be done to prevent erosion at St Clair? Share your voice by voting at our website, dunedintv.co.nz. And now recapping tonight's top stories on 39 Dunedin News. 4 South Dunedin residents are homeless after a fire gutted 2 flats within a historic Cutton Street townhouse. A database is being created for the city's social services, so information that is not lost and people have access to help. And an increasing number of residents are applying to the City Council for permission to fly drones under new regulations. And time now to have a look at our local weather.
This local weather report proudly brought to you in association with Silberhorn Sportsville.
Let's start with today's city view, and that's looking up at the First Church steeple. Marvellous example of Gothic architecture. And around the city today, 10 degrees in the central city at 3 o'clock, out in the Gardens and in the Taieri, 11 degrees. Looking at the situation, forgive me, a cold southerly crosses the South Island, followed by another one coming on Monday, and it will linger until the midweek. And the forecast for the main towns in the lower South Island for tomorrow: Invercargill freshening southerlies 8 degrees, Gore freshening southerlies rain and 7, Te Anau freshening southerlies rain and 7, and the same for Alexandra. Queenstown freshening southerlies rain and 8, Oamaru variable winds rain and 10, Wanaka 7 degrees and some rain, and we can say the same for Wanaka and Twizel 7 and 8 degrees respectively. Here in Dunedin tonight, the cloud will be increasing with occasional rain, 6 overnight, and for Saturday, persistent rain and colder southerlies, snow to 300 metres, 9 degrees, and for Sunday rain clearing, the occasional sunny period, fresh southerlies easing, a high of 9, a low of 7. And finally, to the Southern Clams tidal and fishing information. Tides on Saturday, low tide 10:43, high is at 4:21. Sunday, low 11:24, high at 5:01. Fishing on Saturday is good around about midday, 12:30, and on Sunday around about 1:40. And that is all from the team here at 39 Dunedin News, but we will leave you now with the shots of the week that was, cut by Ruby and set to music by Lensko. So we'll see you again on Monday. Have a great and safe weekend. Bye now.
This 39 Dunedin News Bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.